Welcome back to the I Can Do That Unscripted podcast. This is episode 7, part 2, with our alumni and current UC Berkeley student, Kate. Let's dive back in.
Then tell me about when the pandemic hit and we had to close everything down and we were just about starting High School Musical was going to be our next show. Yeah, what was your pandemic world experience?
Yeah, well, I Can Do That specifically. I was so excited to be Sharpay because, I don't know, I have a tendency to go for that kind of character.
So good.
But I was so excited for that. And we had just finished Joseph, an Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, which I was a dancer in. That was actually my first time being a main dancer. And that was a big moment for me because I realized how much I loved being a main dancer, even though I wasn't singing. I didn't have a role in that show because I was doing a different show. And I just was like, I actually have so much fun doing this too. And I think I actually credit my love of dance to I Can Do That as well through that. But basically, pandemic was super hard for me, as it was for many people. I was graduating middle school, or, I was finishing my 8th grade year, and then going to high school. And I was just very isolated. I luckily had my family, and they are like my core support group. They still are, which is so, I feel so grateful to have. But other than that, I was pretty much I didn't really have another place besides I Can Do That that felt like my true community that I could really be myself with, that I found those people that I could connect with. And when that was taken away, I didn't really know what to do with myself. And that's what made me so excited for us to have those Zoom rehearsals, which were such a interesting, really hard to do certain things, but I remember being in my backyard and practicing Get Your Head in the Game with a basketball, and my parents would be watching me, and they would just be like, what are you doing? But I would love when we would just get on Zoom and we would just end up talking. Those are the times that I remember. Like, yes, we rehearsed and we sang on mute to make sure that it wasn't, the technology didn't get messed up, but I found that, especially with the dancers, we would end up just sitting on Zoom and talking about our lives. And I remember, like, you and Jerusha also being there and, participating in those conversations and also just letting those conversations happen, which I think is so important because it was so obvious that so many people were feeling the same way. So many people were struggling without having this in-person community to go to multiple times a week. And for me it was more about the people than of course I missed performing, but I also could sing by myself in my house. I could dance in my backyard, like I said. But and of course I miss being on a stage, but it was more just about the connection.
Needing to have that connection.
Absolutely.
Sure. Tell me about auditioning and your experience with auditioning, how you feel.
Yeah, I mean, as I said in the beginning, I'm really not good at auditioning, like, in terms of my nerves. I get very nervous. I get very just in my head. It's really difficult for me, and it always has been, which is interesting just because I can get up on a stage and not feel nervous, but in a room with a few people looking at me feels 10 times scarier than that. But I would say I Can Do That helped me kind of manage that fear, and as time went on, I felt more and more comfortable knowing that you guys were rooting for me. I think that was the biggest thing. Because even if I messed up, you just wanted to see what I could do, and that it didn't need to be perfect. It didn't need to be this polished performance that is ready to go on the stage. It was, you were looking at me and you were watching me and you were kind of assessing me, but it was all through a lens of love. And I think auditions can be a really scary thing for a lot of people, and I think it deters a lot of people from getting into theater, getting into the arts. And I think just having that experience and going through that fear over and over again, it made it less scary over time. And it also helped me prepare for interviews that I have now that I'm an adult, or conversations that I'm having, or, with potential employers or whatever I'm trying to do, or professors. Like, it's genuinely so important, and it taught me so many life skills specifically auditioning, and I think that is something that more people should, or
yeah,
I would say that it's something that I think everyone can do and that everyone can try if they are somewhat interested.
Exactly.
And to just remember that the people that are on the other side are rooting for you.
It's really true.
Yeah.
They want you to walk in and be like the solution to what they're looking for, like whether it's in a show or it's in a business interview.
Totally.
And it's a good example of like, even for things that we love, sometimes the entry point is hard.
Definitely.
You know, and it's like, you know, getting the nerve up to do that gives you access to the thing that you really adore, let alone, you know, interviewing or having a rough moment in a direction that you're not as excited about, but it's a muscle, right?
Yes.
And like working that so you can get more and more confident and know.
Completely.
And you're right, it's like the more you do it, in some ways you can become desensitized in a good way to it.
Yeah.
Right? It can be more habit than.
Yeah, and I really like what you said about it being a muscle, because I feel like auditions come a few times every year if you're doing multiple productions. And so just getting myself prepared for, okay, the audition is coming up, let me prepare, let me get ready, prepare myself as best as I can, and then it's going to happen, and then life is going to keep going, and it's going to work itself out. Like, just going through that cycle over and over again, I think is actually very healthy.
Yeah, do you remember through the whole time, through I Can Do That at 8 years, like, was there a moment that sticks out where it was really challenging you, and it was a tough moment, and needed to persevere?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I would say kind of a interesting, choice for this, but I would say Damn Yankees was really a challenge for me, because for 2 years while I was doing the spring show with you guys, I also was doing my high school productions, which were also really important to me, very different, but super important to me to be participating in. And luckily both directors, both teams were able to help me be a part of both, which I really appreciated. But I remember that when I could try to come to rehearsal, I was behind, I didn't always know where I was going, and that was very, very stressful for me, but pushed me really well. And I remember in the week before Tech Week and Tech Week, I just sat down and every day I would review the choreography, because I was a dancer in that one as well. I would review the choreography, I would review what songs were which, and make sure that I knew exactly where I was going. And I remember that I got on stage during Tech Week and it clicked. Yeah. And I was so proud of myself, because it was a lot of work and I was so scared to go on that stage and blank and not know what I was doing, because, and I would feel like just be unprepared. But that was a really challenging moment for me that showed me that I could do it if I tried.
Right, and you took accountability for it. Like, I can't be at all the rehearsals, it is what it is, but I don't want to get up on stage and, all eyes are on me. Like, if anything, you're going to feel bad if you're not able to remember everything you need to. And from, the director's standpoint, I don't think that we saw how challenging it was for you. We can't know that. And not that we wouldn't want to know that. We do want to know that, but that's also a testament to how, brave and strong and dedicated you are and you were.
Yeah.
Is because you're like, this is for me and I need to do it. And we always knew that we could count on you to give it everything you've got. And that counts for so much, is some students, it's easier to be like, yes, do these other, extracurriculars, whatever you need to do, because we know that you're going to work hard. When in other circumstances, it's harder to say yes to splitting, because we also have had experience that then they don't follow through.
Absolutely.
Right? So.
Yeah, and I appreciate all the trust that was put in me that was my motivation too. I knew people were counting on me. I knew people trusted me with this, and so I was going to see it through and do it to the best of my ability. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk about, you've been with us through so much, through the first studio, through not having a studio, through the first studio, through the pandemic, building the center, moving into the center, and then, that's where we were when we graduated. But what's it been like seeing the company change and the company grow?
Definitely.
Over that time?
I just remember in the first years talking to you and Jerusha, and just hearing the passion that you two had and this vision that you had for making a performing arts center for your community, because that's what you two had when you were growing up. And for me, I saw that, and I knew it was always going to, you know, it would get to that point. But I think just watching that grow into a reality and watching more and more of my peers like start with the company and then realize, wow, this is a home for me, this is a safe place for me, and to keep coming back, I think that showed how special this company is that people were coming back over and over and over again because they really found something special. And that was fostered by you and Jerusha. And then you started to find more and more people that wanted to help with that mission and wanted to see your vision come to life. And that's more on the people side, but also on the physical side. I think I remember when the Performing Arts Center was being completed, and you guys were doing news interviews, and it was this whole thing, and you know, is it gonna happen? I really hope so. And then I remember walking in there for the first time, and I felt so much joy and excitement for other kids, knowing that they would be able to experience the magic that is in this place, and that you had created a center where that magic could happen. And then I worked in the center for 2 summers. I was a barista, and I worked as a director's assistant. And I just loved all of the joy that was in those walls. Like, it's just such a happy place for so many people. And I just loved walking past the studios and seeing people dancing and, you know, seeing little kids who really found their confidence throughout the week of summer camps. And, yeah, there's just so much joy and so much magic in those walls that I think comes from you and Jerusha and your passion for inspiring the youth through the arts and just watching it grow from an idea and then something that was small to then growing more and more with every step to where it is today. And I have no doubt it's going to continue to grow. It's so beautiful to see, and it makes me feel so happy as well.
Okay, so studying psychology now, like as a psychology major, do you feel like there were elements of theater that helped you understand like people and behavior and instincts? Like, does any of that play forward into what you're studying now?
100%. I mean, I wrote about that in my college essays.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I knew that I needed to write about theater and performing because I knew that it was more than just a hobby for me. It was really, there was something about it that connected with me so deeply. And when I really sat down and thought about it, I realized when you become a character, you're learning to understand their point of view. You're learning to have empathy. You're learning to really put yourself in the shoes of other people. And I think that I loved doing that so much. And I think that reflected on my personal values as someone who I really value friendship. I really value kindness. I really value how I show up for other people. Those are like the core elements of me, what makes me me. And being able to do that in theater, I think it's so connected, even though it's kind of hard to see on the surface. And yes, of course, I loved, you know, being on stage with my friends and having cool costumes and dancing and all of that. But when you really sit down with a character and you think about, okay, what do they want? What are they experiencing? What is making them feel this way? I think that has a huge connection to psychology. And, you know, I'm thinking about going into, like, the counseling route. And I think that just is a very clear connection where it's all about understanding other people, or at least trying to understand other people and, you know, looking at other perspectives. And so I think looking at it through that lens was really kind of an eye-opening moment for me. And that, like, everybody has a deeper story. Like, you might see the action and be like, you know, why are they responding in this way? I would never respond in this way. But really taking the time to understand, you know, from childhood, from adolescence, what is it that created this character to be this sort of way, and having, as you're saying, like, empathy for this is their world, this is their life, either as a character or as a client, you know? Absolutely.
So valuable. So next question is, how has your comfort with like performance and presentation and public speaking supported you academically and or socially?
Definitely. Yeah, I think such a big part of performing is getting up on a stage or getting up in front of people and delivering whatever performance that you need to give. And a lot of the times it's, you have to project, you have to be confident in your character, you have to make intentional choices as your character. I think all of those things I took directly into my personal life and my professional life. I was always confused as to why I didn't feel scared getting up on a stage and giving a speech. Like when I ran for student government, I was always involved in student government in high school, and I still am involved in like student government spaces in college, but I was always confused as to why is this not scary for me? And then I realized, because I see it like acting, I see it like performing, and that is such a valuable skill as an adult that I completely credit to theater, as well as just improvisation, which is a hard thing to do, but I mean, you have to think on your feet sometimes. Yeah. And I think getting comfortable with that is still one of the hardest things for me. Like in theater, I always struggled with improv, but it pushed me to really just live in the moment and like think work exactly. Think on your feet. And I would just say connecting with people, having conversations. I think using like your words and your thoughts, all of those things. You're really taught to think really deeply about that in theater. How many times do directors tell you to think about what your character wants? What is your character really saying when they're saying this or when they're doing that or they're making that choice? Like when you really go to a deeper level, and I think that helped me use my words and my thoughts in a more intentional way when I'm talking to other people, when I'm expressing myself. But foundationally, public speaking and just presenting myself. It improved so much through theater. So, yeah.
I love that. And I think about, like, during, performances, here you are on stage in front of however many people, and people will flub a line or miss an entrance or whatever it is, and in real time you've got to figure out, like, okay, not only do I need to figure this out, I need to figure this out, and I'm being watched at the same time. And it's a good muscle, like, it's good, and sometimes, like, those shows are, like, the most fun and the ones that we remember and talk about. This made me remember that our final performance of Legally Blonde almost didn't happen-ish, because we started the performance, and I think within the first 10 minutes of the show, you want to tell us about it?
Oh, sure. It was a really windy, stormy day in February or January, and we were in the second song of the show, Serious, where Elle thinks she's getting proposed to, but her boyfriend Warner is actually breaking up with her. And I remember sitting at the little cafe table on stage, and all of a sudden the lights went out. Like, all of them. And I just remember thinking, what do I do? And then, obviously the lights went out, so then the music also went out.
Right.
So power completely out, can't see anything. And then all of a sudden I saw someone hold up their phone flashlight. And then next thing I know, the whole audience is holding their phone flashlights. The castmates in the wings, they're all holding their phones. The people, like, they're all illuminating me and Robert, who was playing Warner. And we ended up continuing the song until a stopping point where it was going into a scene. But there's a video of me singing, and also that was the closing performance, so I had so many people there for me to support me, and I just remember them saying, I can't believe you did that, and there's just there's videos of me on stage singing a cappella with Robert, and, we're illuminated by phone flashlights, and we ended up having to stop it for safety reasons, obviously, but then we ended up performing one of the main numbers, which was next in the show, What You Want. We ended up performing that outside for the people that had come to the show, because we wanted to give them, at least a little taste of what was going to happen. And, just that was
It was insane.
So
memorable. And then weren't we able to do another performance?
That
we did.
Thursday.
Like that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and it was, and I think only a few people couldn't make it.
Yeah.
Like, we ended up making it work and
being flexible about it.
Absolutely. But
what a day.
I forgot about
that.
Oh my
god. I know, you just like flagged that in my mind.
Wow,
like,
yeah.
Wow. And I remember that like we all were like disappointed. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you know, it's closing. We probably had the biggest biggest audience, mm-hmm. you know, there, and so many people you really want to see the show and then they don't get an opportunity to. So I know we were down about it. And I remember saying to you guys, like, we can either focus on this, mm-hmm. you know, that we didn't get to do this final performance, but think about the 7 other performances that we did, and think about all those months of rehearsal and everything that went into it. Like, mm-hmm. there's so much joy and so much accomplishment. You should have so
Absolutely.
much pride. And so looking back, you don't need to remember it because of this one random moment, right? Think about, like, everything that you've done, like, being so proud already.
Definitely.
So, and then it was a bonus to be able to do the extra show.
Exactly. And I think for me and the other seniors that were graduating when that was our last show, it was definitely heartbreaking in the moment, but it also was extra memorable, and it made us all think, okay, what are we really sad about, you know, graduating? Like, what are we really sad about that we're not going to have? And it was the people.
Yeah.
And we were all still there together. So that was the important part. And then we ended up, like you said, being able to perform, and that was just so fun and exciting to be able to do that again. But
yes. The only time we ever had, you know, kind of 3 weekends of shows. So, okay, a couple other little ones. So, if you could tell middle school or high school you something, what would you tell her?
Wow, that's quite the question. I would tell her to have faith in herself, mm-hmm. and to trust that her determination and her work ethic will get her where she needs to go, and also that she doesn't have to have everything figured out, and that she doesn't need to be perfect at everything, mm-hmm. that she should just live and do her best, and that's enough. I think that is something that I would tell myself, and also any middle schooler or high schooler. I think those are really important things to keep in mind as you kind of grow up and mm-hmm. Enter that period of your life.
Mm-hmm. Now, what would you say to a student who might feel like it seems like everybody around them knows what they want to do, knows what they want to go into, and are not clear what their path is?
Mm-hmm. I would say I've been there, and a lot of people also experience that. It's a very normal thing, mm-hmm. even though it doesn't feel like it. And that, I think, like we talked about before, it's very healthy, and it means that you are ready to explore new areas that you might not have been able to before. I would say think of it more as an opportunity rather than like a setback. Mm-hmm. It's giving you an opportunity to try different things, and I would say to harness that part of it, and also just listen to your gut, and if something is calling your name, like if one area has been really, you know, on your mind, mm-hmm. that was kind of how it was for psychology for me. I had studied it a little bit in high school. I had always been very interested in mental health and things like that, and then I just kind of kept that in the back of my mind, and I continued with it, and then I realized that why don't I just go with something that has been there the whole time, even though I didn't really take it seriously until I got to college. But it did all end up working itself out for me, and I'm still figuring it out. Like, I'm not just going to sit here and say, I know what I'm going to do. Like, I'm still 19, and I'm figuring it out, but
it's not the end of the world to feel, you know, to feel like I don't quite know what my next steps are. And just like you said, it's really an opportunity to discover.
Exactly.
You know, and have flexibility and
I think
play out different
in those moments when you are feeling, if you are feeling like isolated or really scared, I think the best thing to do is to lean on people. I think it can be hard to carry all that by yourself. And I have very fond memories of during Legally Blonde specifically, on Wednesdays when all of the dancers would come together, we would sit in a circle and go around and just talk about like the high of our week and the low of our week. And a lot of times with college applications, we would share how we were feeling about that. But it was those 2 hours, 4 to 6 p.m. on Wednesdays, were time for all of us to leave all of the rest of it at the door and really just check in with each other, and also sitting in that circle and looking around and realizing other people are feeling the same way. That's a huge part of it. Oh, yeah. So I think talking about it is so important, and sharing how you're feeling, because there are so many people that are feeling the same way and would be like happy to help you and support you through it.
Right. Your parents were really active, a part of I Can Do That. Yes. So do you want to tell me about what it was like to have them involved in those years and in your passion?
Mm-hmm. It was, I mean, they're the best parents I could ask for. And they were just so excited to see their child so happy and see their child find something that was so fulfilling. And they just wanted to get as involved as possible. And I think that's just kind of the way that my parents are. Specifically, my mom, she was just excited to participate and help out. But I would say a favorite memory of mine is, well, just in general, every show that, well, they would come to every single show.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think, like, every single show that I was in, even if I was a supporting cast member, they would be there, because my mom would just say, I just can't miss an opportunity to see you on stage. And they would scream. It'd be so loud. And it would just, I would have people come up to me and say, I think there's people in the audience for you. Like, there's people screaming. And they're saying, Kate, go Kate! And, I mean, on a personal level, that just feels so, fulfilling. But I also just think to have them be so excited to support something that I loved felt very validating for me, especially with the new center being built. They were so excited to support that, because they knew how much of an impact it had made and was continuing to make on me. And I had shared all of that with them, but they could also see it. They felt it. Like, and they just were so excited to really help other kids feel it as well, kind of like what I was saying before, because they had seen all of the things it had done for me as a person, my confidence, my self-esteem. My mom always says, oh, go to your happy place, and that would be I Can Do That. And so she wanted to see it succeed as best as, like, to the most extent that she could help out with, and my dad too. And I think they just could not be happier to see all of the amazing things that it's doing now. They still come to all the shows. They're coming to see Newsies. They're so excited. But they're great.
It's so good. Yeah, we adore your parents so much. They were amazing, and they were so nice to have around, and they understood that we were also, like, figuring this out as we go. And so, I'd ask for feedback from them and support, and it was so nice to have, they were concerned about you, not concerned as in something was wrong, but they wanted to make sure that you're getting everything you need. But they also were concerned about us, and they understand that, we're just people doing our best, and we felt so loved and supported by them and so many of the families. It was, like, such a beautiful, beautiful time.
Absolutely.
Especially during that pandemic time when it was nuts and it was scary. The support of the families was, like, what got us through, without a doubt.
Definitely.
What in your life currently are you excited or curious about that maybe you don't even know where it's going, but something that's coming up on the horizon?
That's a great question. I would say just seeing where my current path is going to take me. I have an idea for what I want to do in my career, but being realistic, I know that that's definitely going to change, and I'm just kind of excited to see where this path will lead me. At the same time, I think socially I'm very excited. I think going to college, being around a new group of people, being in such a big school where there's so many different perspectives and people, that just meeting so many different people is such an exciting thing. And just making friends with people that I share similar passions with, and kind of going beyond that childhood kind of sphere, kind of moving into the adult real world. That is something that is really exciting and scary, but also healthy and just excited to see all the possibilities that that is going to lead me to.
You're up for the challenge.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, final question would be, if you could describe what I Can Do That feels or means to you in like one word or one sentence, what do you think you'd say?
Family. 100%.
Yeah.
And I'd say family, magic, love, authenticity, welcoming, all of those things that are so important, and everyone deserves to have a space where they feel like they can be themselves, they can be their authentic selves, and they can really grow and be celebrated for who they are. And I think that is something that the arts in general does very well. And that is why I am so glad that I found the arts, and I also encourage other people to try it. Even if you think it might not be the path you want to go down, or just give it a try, because you never know.
True.
And I can sit here and confidently say that I Can Do That changed my life, and I wouldn't have that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't tried something new, and I hadn't put myself out there. So
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you all for joining. I'm so thankful that we got to have this time together.
Me too.
And I can't wait to see where your path leads you, or rather where you lead your path. So,
great.
Thank you.